You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
Lonely dead, stuck, bleeding pig. Lonely dead, shot, choose to dead. Inside.
Good morning and welcome back to the Valley Labor Report. That was Cancer Slug. Did y'all know that David's son is
No, not my son, my cousin.
Your cousin? Oh, really? Man,
my
I've been
cousin.
telling folks that's your son.
No,
I didn't-
I'm not that old. He's only I guess he's 6 or 8 years difference in which he's in better shape than I am. I mean, that is part of touring 24/7, 360. I mean, and plus he works out constantly.
Yeah. Dude is ripped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to. Folks think, oh man, the Dixie Prole guys. Oh, Nelson was like, oh, David, you don't want to meet David in a back alley. You don't want to meet Alex in a back alley.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna go there. He's a good guy though. He's
yeah.
He's one of the and that's funny. Not to go off on a tangent, but it's funny that Nelson said that about me, and you've known me. I'm a big teddy bear.
Oh yeah.
But and Alex is the same way. He's
Right.
got this persona of pure evil.
Right.
But he'll give you the shirt off his back.
Oh,
He'll
yeah.
walk a mile without shoes, to help somebody else.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you this persona that people exemplify.
Well, man, that's crazy. I've been telling everybody that he was your son.
Yeah. Thank God I'm not that old. Yeah, I'm getting there.
Well, David's cousin is an international superstar.
Yeah.
The lead singer of Cancer Slug.
And Doyle.
And Doyle.
Yeah, which is,
Didn't know that?
throw off of the Misfits.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's well known in the punk scene, but
Yeah.
the punk scene's not really that big here in Huntsville.
Right. So, folks, the deal with the Postal Service is getting bad. It's getting real bad, folks. I'm currently in talks with the president of the Alabama Council of the American Postal Workers Union. His name is Shelton Thomas. We're going to bring him on the show and talk about it sometime. But he's a very busy man.
As you can imagine.
Right now. Yeah, he works full time. I mean,
as we all do. As all labor activists do.
Yeah, and then on top of working full time, he represents tens of thousands of postal workers, and of course that takes up a lot of time. And
he's one of the nicest guys you will ever meet. He is one of the
nicest guys you will ever meet. That is absolutely right. But he's not paid for that second thing. He's not paid for the representing tens of thousands of postal workers.
No.
He's the president of the Huntsville APWU Local 359, and he's the president of the state APWU, and he doesn't get like a dime of that. And somebody tweeted this out at us, and we're like, this has been like a month ago, and I'm just gonna riff on that for a second. But somebody tweeted this stupid article at us about how union bosses take people's union dues they make more than CEOs.
Typical.
And that is a bunch of BS. Like, yeah, there are some people in the labor movement that are overcompensated, maybe, like
who?
I mean,
who?
There's the
I mean, here's the thing. I've talked about this ad nauseum with people.
Right.
My international president,
yeah,
with 600,000 members, is making roughly $200. I mean, I would have to go back and look at the real numbers. Is making roughly $200,000 a year. What other CEO in the nation has 600,000 employees and is going to make $200,000 a year? It's now, granted, that is a lot of money for a working class person, but guess what? He was duly elected.
Yes,
he wasn't appointed by some union boss. These folks are off the shop floor.
Right.
I have the opportunity to be the international president if I wanted to run in my election.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like that article that this person tweeted out at us. I think the most highly, and this says something, right? The most highly compensated union president was like, he made $700,000
That's probably not. That's probably because here's where they get that information. They get it from the Department of Labor, which is where you have to report every penny that goes to. So, for example, I'm on the Department of Labor for the state council and for the local. What that don't take into account is the reimbursements. Yeah, my hotel reimbursements that I pay out of my pocket and they send me back. Rental car reimbursements. So they say this is total cumulative compensation, but the fact of the matter is 75% of that or greater is reimbursements on hotel rooms.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so silly. Like, the labor movement is full of selfless people who don't make a dime in compensation.
How much have you made this past year?
Nothing.
Exactly. How much
have you paid? How much? Don't ask me how much I've paid. I'm just a union member, and I'm a secretary treasurer for the labor council here. I don't have nearly as much. You are the president of a local union in Decatur and the secretary treasurer for the state council, machinist representing 15,000 workers.
Roughly 18,000.
Yeah. How much have you made this past year? In compensation for hours worked.
I don't think I've gotten reimbursed for anything this year.
Yeah.
Last year, probably 5,000 to 6,000 in hotel reimbursements, rental car reimbursements, and per diem. But yeah, I mean, this is all voluntary.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, the labor movement, folks, it is full of people like David, like Brother Shelton, who are selfless and have dedicated their lives to helping their brothers and sisters. So I just wanted to riff on that a little bit because I haven't talked about that, and it's been eating me alive since that guy tweeted that article out at me. So
it goes back to the same thing that we were talking about with Zach, and the anarchism.
It's all propaganda.
We have so many people that are constantly out there doing so much good work for nothing, for absolutely free. But yet we're demonized in the right-wing media. It's just these terrible people.
Yeah. So we're going to get Brother Shelton on sometime. But in the meantime, there's been so much happening that I did just kind of I wanted to back up and start at the beginning and give everybody as clear a picture as I can about what's going on and what the implications are. And hopefully Brother Shelton will be able to come in and fill the gaps that I leave. So in the beginning, Louis DeJoy, and this goes back to what you were saying earlier. Louis DeJoy was appointed by Trump in May of 2020, and there were concerns immediately. He was appointed because he is a Trump donor. That's it. He is the first postmaster general in 2 decades with no Postal Service experience. First one in 2 decades. And now, I don't know if he was a lobbyist per se, but he's definitely a swamp creature. And on top of that, this guy holds tens of millions of dollars in stocks in competitors like UPS.
XPO Logistics.
Tens of millions of dollars in stocks in his competitors. Why don't you just sit and think about for a second whether or not I don't know, the board of directors at Teledyne Engineering would appoint to CEO somebody who has tens of millions of dollars of stocks in ULA.
Yeah, in one of their competitors.
Or in one of their competitors.
It's corruption at its finest.
It's broad daylight. This is one of the things. I mean, I haven't even gotten into any of the new stuff. This is like from the beginning we knew this. And I'm already like I'm already mad.
We talked about this, and here was the thing when you said you wanted to talk about the post office. I went back and looked at several. Do you know, before we even come on the radio, you remember May 1st, May Day?
Yeah.
We were talking about folks, don't let them defund the post office then. But this has been the right-wing talking points from not just in this administration for years, is to get rid of privatize.
Even Obama was trying to do it. Was trying to do it. He was trying to cut delivery down to 5 days a week. He was trying to appoint to the Board of Governors. Republican donors who wanted to privatize the Postal Service, and Bernie Sanders killed the nominations of these folks, and good on him. But I mean, like I said, this is the thing that we say is not necessarily a Republican or Democrat thing. It's like
Open
a politician
your eyes.
elite thing.
Yes. It's come back to the money.
Yeah. So this has been apparent from the beginning. Louis DeJoy is a corrupt businessman who is out to make a profit for himself and his buddies, not to make the U.S. Postal Service better for you or the workers. So I haven't even gotten to anything yet. But immediately changes began, and it started with ending overtime and extra trips to make sure that mail is delivered. This was especially harmful during the pandemic because so many, like tens of thousands of postal workers across the country have had to call out sick because they had the coronavirus or because they were in touch with somebody that had the coronavirus and they had to quarantine. And so, in the middle of the largest postal worker shortage, I mean, probably in the Postal Service's history.
Yeah.
In the middle of that, this guy comes in and he says, no more overtime.
Let's cut overtime.
No more extra trips. It's insane. On August 7th, he reassigned or displaced 23 USPS officials. 23 top executives and 2 with day-to-day responsibilities in the day-to-day operations. These are people with decades of experience in the Postal Service, and he has thrown away all their experience. He's thrown away all of that, and he's put in new people. He has confirmed reports of mail delays due to these actions that he claims are unintended consequences of policies meant to improve the service. But just think about it for just a second and don't be a Trump boot-licking stooge. Just think about it for just literally 2 seconds. How does it help improve the service to end overtime where you have the largest postal worker shortage probably in the Postal Service's history? Tell me how that's going to improve the service.
Where's all the constitutionalists at? Where are the constitutionalists at, Jacob? I mean, it is the one government service that is actually spelled
mandated
out
in the Constitution.
And yet nobody's standing up and saying, what about the Constitution? What about the Constitution?
No, they don't. They don't care about it. Most recently and most blatantly, we have seen mail sorting machines removed and decommissioned all over the country, and mail drop boxes removed from the streets in Oregon. You know, those blue boxes that you drop mail in. 15% of the inventory of sorting machines of the entire Postal Service has been decommissioned. How does it help improve the service to decommission the sorting machines? This represents a reduction in sorting capacity of 21.4 million pieces of mail per hour.
But they can't do the mail-in voting. I mean, what did Trump say earlier this week? Hey, if we don't give them any money, then we ain't got to worry about the mail-in voting.
We're getting to that. I mean, just seriously, just take a step back. I mean, I know we've got conservatives in the audience, and I know that, y'all love Trump. You're on that Trump train. But folks, this Louis DeJoy guy, he is a snake.
He's killing us.
He's killing the Postal Service so that he can make himself richer. I'm begging you to open your eyes. So the question then is, and David was stepping on my toes.
I apologize.
No, I don't care. No.
You can tell this is we don't communicate during the week what we're going to do. This is not a apology.
So David alluded to it earlier, and the question is like, okay, so why are they trying to destroy the Postal Service? Why are they? And one, like I said, Louis DeJoy owns tens of millions of dollars in stocks in the competitors, so like he's going to directly financially benefit from the destruction of the post office. But why is Trump letting him do this? Why are people? And it's obvious. This election is going to hinge on mail-in ballots like no other election before. It was only a very educated guess before this week, but Trump did us the favor of just coming out and saying the quiet part out loud in an interview. And David, and I got that quote right here. He said, quote, "Now they need that money in order to make the post office work so that it can take all of these millions and millions of ballots. But if they don't get those two items, that means you can't have universal mail-in voting." And remember those mail drop boxes that were being removed in Oregon. Oregon already votes all by mail and has for years. There's no in-person voting in Oregon.
Yeah, they're not changing anything.
And yet Oregon is the only place where they're removing these mail drop boxes.
Yeah.
That's awful convenient, isn't it?
It's really unbelievable that the amount that he says
It's
out
just
loud.
Yeah.
And
it's
like,
crazy.
Seriously?
And like folks like conservative commentators like Eric Erickson are saying that like the thing about Trump wanting to destroy the Postal Service to rig the election is like QAnon for left-wingers. But like he just said it. Like he said it out loud. Like on Fox News. Like this is not a conspiracy. He just said the darn thing. It's not a conspiracy. He just said it. He just said it. And here's another kind of recent development, and this ties in again with what David had to say about swamp creatures. Elizabeth Warren has launched an investigation into DeJoy because apparently it wasn't enough that he had tens of millions of dollars in stock in UPS and other USPS and competitors. Apparently, right before he was appointed to the Postmaster General role, he bought a bunch of Amazon stock. Why do you think that is?
Surely not.
Why do you think that is? And now here's another question. Here's another question for all you union-hating, bootlicking folks out there. What have the unions been doing this whole time? The workers can't work overtime. Surely the unions love this. Surely the unions love, because unions are full of lazy workers. They just want to protect the lowest common denominator. They're just a bunch of lazy folks. So they've just been loving this. And that's a bunch of BS. They have been fighting to do their jobs. They've been fighting for efficiency. They've been fighting so they could work for longer hours so that they can deliver the mail to you, so that they can deliver medications to the more than 250,000 veterans who depend on it, so that they can deliver for small businesses, for big businesses, and for you. These workers take pride in their work and don't want to see their craft destroyed by some oligarch. But you're not going to hear that on Fox News. All you're going to hear about unions on Fox News is unions are lazy, blah, blah, blah. Workers are lazy, blah, blah, blah. It's the only reason society is good is because we have oligarchs, blah, blah, blah. But if unions were full of lazy workers, why would rank and file members and leaders and union leaders be going to the mat so that they could work overtime to make sure you get your stuff in the mail on time?
Surely it's not because they believe in it and providing a good government service.
Surely not. Surely not. And so then here's another question. Maybe you think that the post office is financially unworkable anyways. Well, you would be stupid. And you only listen to right-wing propaganda. Because I actually read a tweet that says the Postal Service is a waste of taxpayer dollars.
That's the problem with the right. That is the problem with the right. They do not do enough research to even understand that zero taxpayer dollars goes to the postal.
Zero taxpayer dollars has gone to the Postal Service in decades. And then the next thing, after you realize that it's not a waste of taxpayer dollars, is like, oh, well, the Postal Service is in billions of dollars in debt and they're financially unstable and whatever. The only reason, folks, you got to listen to me here. The only reason that they have billions of dollars in debt is because of a bipartisan Democrats voted for this too, is because of a bipartisan bill passed in 2006 that made them fund employee pensions and health care 75 years in advance. Fully funding pensions and health care 75 years in advance. Yeah. No other government agency, no other private corporation has to fund. I mean, what that amounts to is 75 years. Literally, they are having to estimate and pay for the health care of people
generations
who not only don't work at the Postal Service yet, who aren't even born yet. Yep. They're not even born yet, and they're having to pay for their health care and their retirement. And Republicans and Democrats both voted for this. And that's the only reason that the Postal Service is in debt, folks.
And they're not really in debt. Truthfully, no other corporation is going to consider that debt.
No.
They're in the black.
Yeah. And here's another thing. Maybe that you think the private sector would be better. Here again, you would be stupid.
Well, just on cost alone.
I mean,
think about just cost alone.
Here's what. It'll only make rich people richer. It'll pay people less and give you less services. Do you reckon that FedEx will deliver a letter to Alaska and Tennessee for the same price, for 55 cents? No, of course not. You're out of your mind. Okay? The Postal Service already delivers last mile deliveries for these services because it's simply not profitable to deliver to rural outposts and get deliveries from rural outposts every day. The Postal Service already makes more deliveries in 16 days than the UPS and FedEx combined in an entire year. The FedEx CEO, he makes $16 million a year. UPS CEO makes $14 million a year. Amazon CEO makes $1.7 billion a year. The Postmaster General makes $300,000 a year, and that is why they want to destroy the Postal Service, so that their little crew can get richer, so that they can rig the election, and so that you can eat cake.
Let them eat cake.
That's it. They don't care about you. They don't want to provide you with better services. They don't want to provide you with cheaper services. They don't want to make sure that people can have a good middle-class living doing this essential service. They want to get richer. They want to make sure that they can stay in power by whatever means necessary. People be damned. That is the grift. That's the grift. This has been the Valley Labor Report. We will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We appreciate your time. If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week and get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist. And if you missed part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, you can search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. You can go back and watch the full show there, and we also clip segments and release it throughout the week. And we also upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps, so you can see if we are on your listening platform of choice. You can go to thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. And of course, if you appreciate our work and want to help us stay on the air, consider throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/thevalleylaborreport.